G'day, Steve Morgan here, Fishing Monthly Magazines, and what I love about working at the magazine is you get to see sneak previews of new stuff coming out onto the market. And this afternoon we're with the guys from Stessl and Horizon Boats. Horizon Boats, famous Gold Coast brand, took over the Stessl brand around 4 years ago now, and they're starting to do some pretty cool things with it. Behind me here I've got the 455 Edgetracker Tournament Pro hull. The hull hasn't changed much, but inside, that's where the interesting things are. Let's talk to Mark Johnson from Stessl about what exactly they've done to it.
The Stessl Edgetracker is one of the most popular hulls that's been around with Stessl for many years now. We've refined it, internal fit out. It's the same basic hull. It's always worked well. It didn't need any fiddling with. The interior, as things have changed, particularly, example, the console with sounders. Sounders have got bigger. We've needed more real estate. We've had to change the look and develop something new. This is our new console range, developed for that, to get a new look, to have something different, and to allow us to put 12-inch sounders. This one's mounted on a ram bracket, but it could flush mount right in the centre here. The dealer's chosen to do this for competition fishing, so that on the bracket he can spin it round and fish off the front casting deck. We wanted to have a totally different look. We wanted to get away from the old white box console with a plastic screen and an acrylic screen. This is satin painted as standard, and we're able to do wrapped or colour painted dashboards, so people will be able to customise them. Being a tournament boat, we sort of look to what people would want. There's a live well, a kill tank down the back or a bait tank down the back, but our rod locker, always difficult to get one in a small boat. We've managed to get a very deep, it's right from the gunnels down to the floor. Rod locker, you can fit 6 rods in comfortably and more loose, but there's racks inside for 6 with routed butt storage and hooks down the side, so that when you're travelling they're not bouncing around. We also have on the front of the console a 4-rod rack system mounted on the front there, so when you do pull up somewhere you don't have to keep digging them out. You can either lay them on the shelf on the full-size casting deck, or you can clip them into the front of the rack when you're moving between fishing spots. Got a number of different names, this rail. The polite one is just the grab rail, but it is just so that you can hang on to it, and if you're old like me you can actually use it to stand up. But it is there just if you want to stand up and look around while you're fishing, see where you're going to, and if you hit a big wake you've got something to hang on to. The maximum horsepower is 75 horsepower. We've chosen to put that on there. The boat performs brilliantly, pops out of the water. You wouldn't need any more, it would be a handful. We've got a 50-litre underfloor fuel tank, factory fitted. We don't have a lot of room under the floor. It's a fairly shallow bottom boat, being this style of boat, so we don't have any enough depth to get anything deeper in there. One of the challenges when talking to fishermen and dealing with it is all the gear, where to put all the gear, the safety gear, life jackets, your food, your rescue, all your fishing tackle. So the casting deck is right up at gunnel height, where you want to be when you're casting, but the storage inside, there's 5 hatches for storage access, and there's the central hatch for the 100-litre live well. The electric motor mount is standard on this model. Obviously named as a tournament fisherman, we assume that tournament fishermen are going to have them, and it'll suit them in coda or motor guide. It's a standard bracket that'll take them. A lot of people like to have a clean deck, no cleats or anything on there. In the anchor locker, the cleat is mounted under the floor, under the hatch, and there's a small slot in the hatch for your rope can come out. With the advent of spot lock on electric motors now, anchoring's becoming a thing of the past, but it is something you need to have. This package, as shown, would be in the mid-30s, and you'd buy 2 of these for the price of an American imported sports fishing boat now.
Well, there you go. As you can see from that montage, out on the water this afternoon on the Coomera River in southeast Queensland was it's a great test for where you normally use this boat: dams, rivers, enclosed waterways. For me, the overall impression is this is a good value for money boat. This package, as we tested this afternoon without that Garmin sounder, around $35,000. And as Mark Johnson says, you can buy 2 of these for the price of a good imported American sports fishing boat at the moment. When I initially read the specs, I thought 50 litres fuel tank, it's probably a bit little for this boat. But once we took it on the water, we got these performance stats. At 3,500 RPM cruising speed, you can get 38 kilometres an hour and 4 kilometres per litre. So that gives you a theoretical range in this boat of nearly 200 kilometres, and that's plenty for any of the sorts of fishing that we're going to be doing in this sort of craft. It revs out to 5,800 RPM where you get 60 kilometres an hour, but that economy halves at that speed. This has got a lot of underfloor storage, this boat. Because that front deck is so high and the main cockpit deck is so low, it's actually quite a step up onto the top deck, but there is a lot of underfloor storage. It's where the underfloor anchor's kept, it's where the live well is fitted, and there's a lot of depth for a lot of storage there. Remember though, like any plywood, carpeted floored boat, it's going to be wet underneath, so if it rains, your stuff underneath is going to get wet. Keep it in a tub or some sort of waterproof device if it's valuable. Of course, the main feature of this boat and the main improvement to this boat is that centre console. That satin black finish looks good. That accented side panel, which means that you can put it whatever colour you want it to be. You can wrap it, you can paint it. It's going to look good with your colour combination. You can fit a 12-inch sounder in there. Yay! And you can fit all of the gauges. So it's not only a good-looking addition, it's a practical addition from that reason. The grab bar on the front of it, not only good for a grab bar, but if you want to mount action cameras, a GoPro, something like that, which a lot of people want to do nowadays, that is a really good option for a mounting point. Lots of windscreen boats don't have a place to put that sort of gear. At the moment, of course, Australian made, it's good value for money. The dollar's crap at the moment, so really is locally made is a good option if you want to especially step up into tournament fishing. This thing comes on a single axle trailer. It's light enough, which means you can basically tow it with anything, and it'll fit in most garages, which means your pride and joy is going to be able to be stored safely and securely and out of the elements. If you want more information on this boat, make sure you go to www.stessl.com.au and on Facebook like Stessl Boats for updates on new models, boat shows if we ever get to have them again, and any specials that your local dealer may be running. Until next time, Steve Morgan checking out at dusk, Coomera River, southeast Queensland. Loved riding in this Stessl.